European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said that recent drone incursions into EU countries' airspace were not isolated incidents, as she met with Baltic leaders in Lithuania on Tuesday.
This is the reality on Europe's eastern border in 2026. Today it's here. Tomorrow it will be elsewhere along the eastern border. And we must be clear about what it means. These are not isolated incidents. This is a deliberate strategy from Russia, trying to destabilize our democratic societies.
Von der Leyen was in the Baltic region to reaffirm EU support as it had been repeatedly impacted by incursions in recent weeks, with at least 6 recorded since the beginning of May. A major incident in Lithuania last week sent citizens underground to bunkers, while officials above ground attempted to gain a better understanding of the suspected incursion close to the country's border with Belarus.
These incidents have exposed vulnerabilities. Preparedness must be the organizing principle for the resilience of our societies, our economic policies, and of course for our security architecture.
Von der Leyen said on Tuesday that one way to address capability gaps she described as vulnerable along Europe's eastern border is through closer cooperation with NATO. On the occasion of the International Summit of Cities and Regions, the mayor of Le Havre and French presidential candidate Édouard Philippe was visiting Kyiv. After laying a wreath at the Wall of Remembrance, he walked through the city's center accompanied by a Ukrainian delegation led by Deputy Prime Minister Oleksiy Kuleba. On social media platform X, the leader of the French Horizons party reaffirmed his determination to stand with the Ukrainian people even beyond the war. Philippe notably spoke in favor of deploying European troops to Ukraine once peace is restored, in order to deter Russia from any new attack. During a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Édouard Philippe described the Ukrainian forces as the most battle-hardened army in Europe. The presidential candidate promised to work toward Kyiv's integration into NATO, an alliance he considers the best guarantee of security for the country, a position welcomed by the Ukrainian president. At least 4 people have been killed, including 2 children, after a train collided with a school minibus on Wednesday in the Belgian town of Buchenhout. Belgian media showed images of a badly damaged minibus lying on its side on a road next to a railway line, with tents set up by emergency workers around. The bus was carrying 9 passengers, 7 children and 2 adults. The victims were 2 teenagers of 12 and 15, a 27-year-old supervisor, and the 49-year-old bus driver. The children were students at a special needs school, according to police. 5 children were brought to the hospital in critical condition but are now stable, local police added during a press conference. Footage from Belgium's Infrabel rail agency showed that the barriers at the crossing had been closed and a red light was showing at the time of the incident. Police is investigating how the collision could have occurred. Several ministers in Belgium's government, as well as European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen, expressed shock and condolences in messages posted on social media.
A major transformation has taken place in recent years in the economic relationship between Greece and Turkey, 2 neighboring countries whose political leaderships alternate between periods of tension and what is often described as a climate of calm. Over the past 5 years, the total volume of trade and tourism between the 2 countries is reported to have doubled. However, this growth has become increasingly uneven.
Ενώ από την Ελλάδα μέχρι πριν από 10 χρόνια ερχόταν στην Τουρκία για ψώνια, Κωνσταντινούπολη, Ανδριανούπολη και Σάνι, τώρα από την Τουρκία οι επισκέπτες πάνε στην Ελλάδα γιατί οτιδήποτε θέλουν να ψωνίσουν είναι πιο φτηνό. Εδώ είναι φτηνά τα απολύτως απαραίτητα για να ζήσει κάποιος, να διαβιώσει, να επιβιώσει μάλλον. Αλλά όταν πάει για να ψωνίσει κάτι ακριβότερο, κάτι καλύτερο, η τιμή εκτοξεύεται.
While the number of Greeks visiting Turkey each year has remained relatively stable at just over 500,000, the number of Turkish visitors traveling to Greece has reportedly tripled over the past 4 years.
Geçen ay Yunanistan'a tatile geldim. Karayoluyla Kavala'ya ve Selanik'e gittim. Ve Yunanistan'ı çok beğendim açıkçası. Yemekler çok güzeldi, porsiyonlar büyüktü ve ucuzdu her şey. Fiyatlar gayet uygundu.
Η τουριστική πλευρά της Ελλάδας είναι πολύ σε κατώτερα επίπεδα από πλευράς οικονομίας της Τουρκίας και ως εκ τούτου βλέπουμε από το Αϊβαλί είτε από τις διάφορες άλλες περιοχές περνάνε κατά χιλιάδες πλέον, ιδιαίτερα το καλοκαίρι, στα ελληνικά νησιά.
Diplomatic sources state that the Greek consulate in Istanbul alone now issues around 1,300 visas per day, many of them allowing multiple entries.
Eskiden Yunan müşterilerimiz daha yoğundu. Şu an Türkiye'ye daha az uğruyorlar. Bunun sebebi ekonomik şartlar bu şekilde. Kıyasla daha az.
According to data from the Hellenic Statistical Authority, the trade balance between the two countries has also shifted dramatically in recent years. Imports from Turkey to Greece, which stood at 1.3 billion in 2020, are now estimated at 3.3 billion. In contrast, Greek exports to Turkey are projected to reach only 1.3 billion in 2025, continuing a downward trend over the past 3 years after peaking at 3 billion in 2022.
Τα τελευταία χρόνια, η ροή των επισκεπτών από την Τουρκία στην Ελλάδα και αντιστρόφως έχει αλλάξει. Όλο ένα και περισσότεροι Τούρκοι έρχονται και ξοδεύουν στην Ελλάδα. Όλο ένα και λιγότεροι Έλληνες έρχονται και ακόμα λιγότερο ξοδεύουν στην Τουρκία. Από την Κωνσταντινούπολη, για το Euronews, Γιάννης Γιαγκίνης.
People in Portugal are going wild for the official Panini sticker album for the upcoming World Cup. Now events are being organised to bring collectioners together and offer them the possibility of swapping stickers and completing their album collection. Event organiser Victor Rodrigues tells us more.
Por isso isto acaba por ser também espírito de convívio e entre ajuda, que é isso que nós queremos que o evento seja. Mundial é mundial. Acaba por... Eu digo que o fenómeno acaba por rapidamente exponenciar, porque aquilo que se vê este ano é completamente maluco. Não tem nada a ver com anos anteriores.
This year's phenomenon is already considered the largest, most expensive and most difficult football sticker collection ever.
Quem pensa que vai fazê-lo com 200 euros, desengane-se. Desengane-se, não faz. Vai ser mesmo, é preciso mesmo muitas trocas.
The phenomenon is affecting not only avid collectors or soccer fans, but also simply curious people who have started their first album.
Que ajudou foi a internet, entretanto aqui vim acabar hoje.
Eu estou determinada a completar.
Falta-te muito ou não?
Falta muito pouco para mim.
Tem assim já uma lista de faltas reduzidas para acabar já uma coleção. Não é a primeira, nem a segunda, nem a terceira, pronto, não interessa, para aí fora. E portanto é uma questão de sorte, de aparecer alguém.
Deixei acabar a minha caderneta. A minha não, que já está feita, é do meu sobrinho, é dos meus colegas e isto é um gosto que já vem há muitos anos mesmo.
Retailers are speaking of an unprecedented phenomenon.
Eu nunca pensei que isto fosse chegar a este ponto. Nós, em 15 dias, vendemos cerca de 75 mil saquetas. 75 mil saquetas, reparem bem. É muito, é muito. Há muita procura e oferta diminuta. Logo, gera este boom caótico. E eu nunca vi em Portugal um boom tão grande pelos cromos. Em todo o lado.
In total, the album consists of 980 stickers, which can be collected in different ways. One of the most common options is to buy the so-called booklets, which contain 7 stickers and costs €1.50. In an ideal scenario, the collection could cost some €200.
Four years ago, Qatar was at the center of the football world. Now, attention is turning to 2026, and another FIFA World Cup is set to kick off. But before the spotlight shifts, people here in Qatar are still talking about 2022. The fans, the atmosphere, the feeling, the whole world fit into one small country for an entire month. And now the question is, what part of that legacy carries on to 2026? In a sea of football fans, one stands out. Always dressed for the occasion, Mohamed Mirza is a spectacle for spectators. Like many fans, he remembers the ease of movement and hospitality that welcomes supporters from everywhere.
It was free transport and the stadiums was very close together. During one day, you can watch 2 games. I did by myself, and it was really, really the best World Cup.
Now, as preparations ramp up for the next World Cup, some of the lessons from Qatar are traveling too. a testament to FIFA's confidence in the tiny Gulf nation.
The expertise, but more than that, the commitment and the passion and the heart of all the people in this venture is absolutely amazing.
The high praise from FIFA resulted in the signing of a memorandum of understanding for Qatar to support the delivery of the next World Cup. You just announced this week that you partner with FIFA. What kind of expertise are you sharing with host cities?
FIFA is a very, very valuable partner for the Supreme Committee for the country of Qatar. We have people already working there since over a month now. So we have venue managers, we have media operations, we have security personnel as well, we have transportation people. So it's a lot of different functional areas.
But this year will be undoubtedly different given the new format. What are you most looking forward to in 2026?
Personally, I think increasing the number of teams is a good idea. We will see from a technical perspective how it will end up. But from a spectator experience, fan experience, from a cultural, social perspective, is very, very important that all these people mingle with each other, meet each other, see each other's culture, which is, the power of football.
The impact of Qatar 2022 is still being felt here in the stadiums, the metro, and the way this country sees itself on the world stage. As North America gets ready for 2026, many will be wondering what lessons from Qatar will make the journey across the Atlantic. Adil Halim, Euronews, Doha.